Hello everybody, this is Roku Okami and thank you very much for joining me. Today we will be checking out all the new blocks added to Space Engineers with the new Fieldwork update. We will be checking out the new blocks with the update as well as the DLC blocks. So let's dive in, shall we? Now, starting right out, we have the new inset small connector block. This is huge for many different reasons. One, we can now, with our new mining ships and stuff, we don't have to have the large connectors because ores are all small connector pass through. We can also now build like small speeder bikes and stuff that can easily dock and connect without us having to use a rotor and switching it to a small head and dealing with clang issues when we want to dock small grid little speeders, attack bikes, small fighter ships can also, because small ammo can pass through the small connector like Gatling and auto cannon. If I can talk. So if it has connector ports on the top, back, and bottom for the large grid. Then we also have a new inset connector as well for the small grid and stuff. And it's the same way, connector ports top and bottom and back. So that one, not that big of a thing. This is huge, being able to adapt small grid connector to large grid. This is huge. Next, we have the new refilling station block. This will allow you to refill your hydrogen, oxygen, and recharge without you having to put tons of survival kits all over your base or having to put down med bays and stuff. This is a really, really needed add-on. But to top it off, it also comes in a connector cap. So you can easily just have an exposed conveyor somewhere and you can just quickly cover that up and have it act as a recharging point as well, which is very, very handy. Next, and then we also now have I should have thrown a battery on here. My bad. It also comes, the connector cap style also comes in small grid as well. So we have a recharge. You can use the recharging station even on your small grids. Now note, the rear conveyor portion is made for the large conveyor small grid connection for like the hydrogen and stuff. I wish that they had a small connector in the middle and stuff, because that would make it a lot easier to place it in places. Then we have one of the biggest things in my opinion, and that is the new small oxygen tank. This is huge because now we can actually work in oxygen into our small grid ships to have additional oxygen on storage, because normally nobody uses the other oxygen tank. It's just too big and too bulky. And it's more oxygen than one person will ever need on a ship 9 out of 10 times. Unless you're building a large small grid ship and stuff, and you're planning on having a whole ton of people being in it as like a transport ship and stuff. Now, the oxygen capacity of these is the same as the tanks that we carry in our inventory. So it's a good chunk, and it will keep you alive when you're out mining in space for quite some time and stuff, because now you don't have to worry about having an H2 generator on your ship and having ice in it to have oxygen, because that's the better option than carrying than using an oxygen tank. It's just always been the better option. Next up is we have the updates to the projector. Huge, because now we actually can tell what side's the left side, right. There are arrows on the top and bottom that point towards the forward position of the projector. And it also has a built-in controller now, which is very big. Even though I personally would have liked to have had the controller on top, because then you can stand up here and control and move your ships easier. Stuff I probably won't be utilizing on the controller on this hardly at all, but on the small grid version, which also got all the same updates, and this little circle bit is the new controller on the back side. This will be very, very, very handy for us, because now we will be able to align our small grid ships perfectly, our holograms, to print them out and everything on our printing ships and everything. That is huge. Those are all the main blocks. The last block that we had added in is this beast. Let me quickly fix the time of day again. There we go. And now we have the new Prototech in-game block, the Prototech reactor. And this is nice and stuff. One thing, it doesn't run on uranium. That's huge. And so it runs on a easily collected and gathered resource. It runs on hydrogen. That means all you need is ice to be able to power this puppy. And this puppy can put out 400 megawatts compared to the 300 megawatts that a normal large grid reactor puts out. And that requires uranium, which is not exactly the easiest thing to come by. Now, note, this is not easy to come by either, because it's in-game. You're going to have to deal with a Prototech encounter, and I don't know yet which encounters that this puppy will be available on yet and stuff. It would have been even cooler if it had gone, if some of the predictions, because like the breakdown image of it said that this thing's a deuterium processor and stuff. Well, deuterium is not made from hydrogen, Keen. I'm sorry, deuterium is made from water. It is not made from hydrogen and stuff. You guys need to do your research a little bit better on some things. Deuterium is a byproduct that is created from heavy water. And heavy water is just water with an extra hydrogen atom, if I remember correctly. It's either hydrogen or it's either H2O. No, yeah, it's H3O is what heavy water is. Yeah. And then it is then processed into deuterium from there. I don't know the exact scientific process that goes through converting it then into deuterium, but yeah, it's made from heavy water. So they should have had a heavy water processor and then a deuterium processor on here, and then we just fed this puppy ice. And boom. But it's still technically it still takes ice to produce power because it's from hydrogen. But that's just getting into all the scientific mumbo jumbo of it all and stuff. Okay, that covers the base game blocks. That's all the new stuff that you get in, that everybody gets. Now there are quite a few quality of life updates, and we will get into some of those right now. So one of the biggest things, if we jump into our options menu down here to controls, we now have the ability to set up sub keybinds, a secondary keybind set, which is huge. And as you can tell, I've already set up some. And what these are now allowing me to do is literally rotate blocks by hitting my control and using my QWEASD keys, just as we can in Space Engineers 2. Now note, when you're doing this, it's a 90-degree turn, where if you use the other keys, you can nudge fluently and get a block positioned in weird angles and stuff, especially like for if you're really wanting to fine-tune a space station placement, how you want it to be aligned and everything. But for standard shipbuilding and stuff, this is going to make life so much better. This is one of the huge things. And then we will then the other big things is we have a ton of new unidentified signals. Or I mean not unidentified signals, the pods that drop down during your game that you can get skins and a little bit of loot from and everything. There's a lot of those. Then there's strong ones that are a little bit more of an encounter. Now those are available to all players. That means everybody will see those signals. And those will usually have a little bit of a fight to them. You can think of them as like an early game attack or fight. So you'll want to have a gun with you and stuff. I would recommend having like the sniper rifle and stuff because they usually will have a turret on them that you have to take out. And then you can get up there and then you can get some really good loot from those chests. And that is very, very nice. Then a whole ton of new cargo ships are now available to us as well. And that is going to be fun. Those encounters are up there right at the moment. I did a live stream yesterday. We played for 3 hours and we only came across one of the new cargo ships. And that was the small little tug one, which was a little bit of a letdown. In 3 hours, only coming across one, we came across some of the other regular vanilla, or I should say original encounters, but yeah, it was kind of disappointing that we only came across the one. Okay, that pretty much covers the main core update. There's a lot of other details, a lot of other little things that they've fixed and done, and to look those up, just go on either Steam or on Keen's website, and you can get the full breakdown. But those are the general items that they have changed. Now, let's get into the DLC blocks, shall we? First thing in the DLC, they expanded on the bridge items. Gave us some more of the bridge things, like this tight corner piece here. One with a floor, one without floor, and then we got a lot of the corner blocks that we did not have before that are floorless and stuff that were from the previous DLC. So this is a big thing, especially for people that like utilizing the new bridge blocks for building their ships, or utilizing these just for windows in general on their ships. Now we get into some of the new other blocks. We got a ton of new flooring blocks and stuff with this DLC. And I mean a ton of new flooring blocks and everything. This is the center floor block, and each side is different. And I've got it placed double so you can see what this is the bottom, that's the top side. These are your sides based off of, well, the way I was looking at these blocks. And so this is the lined ones that have different lines. You got black caution, yellow caution. You got center line here that you can use as a guiding line through your base. Like if you need people, you can have a sign up, follow yellow line to get to engineering bay, or to get to the bridge on your ship, and so forth and everything. And then it's got nice little edging on it. This is that side, this is the other side and stuff. It is pretty nice. Then we have the new corridor. Well, no, these are the edge blocks here. And they're designed to work with edging with these blocks here. These blocks here have the edge on them. Just these don't have the line through them and stuff, which is pretty nice. Then we have the corridor floor blocks. These are designed to help with the corridors. The original, if I can find them. No, not corridor, passageway. My bad. Said that wrong. Here we go. Grab the passageways. Let's grab the sorry, modded passageways here. And a good example is you see how we can flip this over, pop this onto here, and see these dots line up with where the passageway, where the 4-way passageway lines up. And the 3-way would line up there, 3-way there. I don't know exactly. I didn't think there was a U-shaped passageway, but then the regular one like that. That way now you can actually have a floor that's designed to work with your passage if you use these particular passageways. I don't ever use those ones. I prefer using the corridor ones and stuff, but that's cool. Then we also now have a huge wrong button. 3-way, 3-block floor that we can put down. And if you haven't noticed, we've been walking all over these because it made it really easy to build out a platform to showcase everything on and stuff. And there are 2 sides. One side with the little black corner bits, as the floor here is, and then also the other side is a clean wall. Oh, excuse me. Then we move on to the new passageway stuff. We have a new round hatch door here that is pretty cool. Even got some machinery made into back there. I wonder if that actually... Nope, it don't spin. I was hoping that that would turn as it pushes the door out, because that would have been cool if that piece would have rotated. But you're not going to be able to really look at it to know. But that is kind of neat. And then we have that new block that then leads into our new corridors. We have the round corridors. This is the round corridor without a light, straight through. Here is with light. For which I never use the without. I just use all light ones. Then we have the curved one. And I like how it actually curves versus being a tight just right angle. That makes that so nice. We have the T-junction, the cross junction, or the 4-way junction. And then we have the adapter piece. This one allows you to flow from round into the regular ones. Into the regular corridors. And you notice nice flow. It converts really nicely. I would like to have seen these pipes here at this end, instead of just being capped off, bend up. Like how these bend in. And how that one bends up. Why couldn't this one just bend up? Instead of just coming to an abrupt end. I mean, at least they put a cap there, but it would have made more sense if it had gone up and into, supposedly, into something else. That would have been nice. But I'm okay with it. It is a nice blend. If you look at the outside, the blocks do flow even on the outside real nicely between one another. On their designs and stuff, the outsides look good. Nice, because sometimes you'll be looking at these from inside rooms of your ships and stuff. So they're still very nice, aesthetic, and they look good. Now we're going to jump into the lab desks. We have quite a few of them. We have the regular desks that you can sit at. You've got a computer screen, keyboard, got some test tubes here. Looks like some small test tubes in this one. And so these are just storage drawers. It allows you to access the small amount of storage that the desk has and stuff. So this is probably where you're keeping specimens in it, or more test tubes, or your tools and everything. We'll move on to the next one. We have, once again, more test tubes. You got some sort of analyzer tool there. A lot more test tubes. A centrifuge. Another tool. And stuff. I like how everything is strapped down. Because, I mean, you are on a spaceship, and if you don't have gravity on your ship, all these things would just be floating all over the place. Then we have the corner desk, which has, this is an empty tray. We've got a microscope, and see, look at these little latches to hold everything down when you're not moving it around. And stuff, we got this little bit here. I don't like, I can't walk up into it very far. Ooh, what just happened there? Wow, I just found a glitch in the game. Yeah, that just caused my game to crash. That is an interesting thing. Wow. Okay. I have to reboot the game in the middle of doing this video. This is crazy. I really was not expecting that. We just found a bug in the game. That is nuts. Well, since I'm doing this complete reactions, no editing. Yeah. Let's quickly get the game restarted. And back in. Wow. Well, that is interesting. Oh, I will need to post that corner desk, if you try walking up into it, it will crash the game. I wonder if anybody else has had that happen yet. Because that was, yeah. Didn't expect. But so far, I have been greatly enjoying. Oh, the game. Nope, there. Now it loaded in. There we go. Let's see. Where are we at? Okay, this is where it last did the save. So we will not get too close up into that desk. We will look at it from the back side. We got more test tubes. We got this little pad-like thing on there. I don't know exactly what it is. I know that there is a term for it. We do have some desk storage, and it looks like there's some specimen containers or something there. Then we've got this one here. It's got another screen, some more test tubes, some controllers for looking at whatever you're scanning inside here. And if you're wondering what this is, what is this thing? I'll tell you right now. It's an electron microscope. It allows you to see stuff extremely close compared to a regular. And when I say extremely close, you can view stuff clear down to its molecular structure. That means the atoms and all that fun stuff. Which is really cool that they included something like that. And there's even a controller on here as well. Then we now have the lab sink. We now have a large grid sink and stuff, which looks cool. Yeah, we've had others and stuff, but I think this is cool. It's got the little latches for locking down your stuff and everything, but we've got a sink to be able to wash all this stuff, keep our hands clean while we're experimenting and everything, which is pretty nifty. Next, we have the lab. I forget what this one is, but it's got just a ton of shelves, cabinets, books, and everything on it. A little refrigerated area from what it looks like, which is kind of neat. Now we have the lab freezer. What makes this block, once again, it's just something that looks cool, but what's neat is the doors actually do open. Fortunately, it doesn't give you inventory access. You can only gain inventory access from that area there. It would have been nice if this would light up and then you could actually access the inventory of it, but that is a neat little add-on. Now we're getting into some of the other decorative blocks, and we now have the new exhaust covers. These guys are pretty cool. You can stick them on the ends of your pipes, on the sides of your buildings to create a nice little greeble exhaust effect. You can have, like with the the round tubes, you can have them like this and have an exhaust pipe coming out of your buildings and everything. That's what came to mind for me. I'm like, oh, I can have an actual smokestack on top of my buildings now. That will look really aesthetic. Using the round pipes, and then you just pop that on top and you got a nice smokestack effect and everything. And it also comes in small grid as well. Now, let's move on. Let me adjust the sun once again as we move forward. Now we have the new doors. They come in two versions, the new lab doors, glass sliding doors. You have the regular one and then the inverted one. And if you notice, I go through and you look at the backside, now they're inverted. But that will allow you to be able to place them however you want and stuff. And you could easily create a glass like tunnel passageway with windows here and here, and then one stuck along the top row here to walk through and have glass passageways. Now we have the new aesthetic pipe blocks. These things I'm going to have so much fun with decorating the outside of buildings with and stuff. We have the regular straight pipe 1, straight pipe 2 that has the valve on it. This is the end pipe where they have end caps at the very ends on one side, and the other side will still look like this, the open pipes. Then we have the corner bend. Then we have the right angle for it going around in your corners. You have the small tight angle if like you're going around a corner of an outside wall. And then you have the junction block where it has all these little all opening ends at all sides and the fake little valve. I would have liked if the valve had just been interactable, where you could click it and it would spin, and it wouldn't do anything. It just would be an interaction. That would have been cool. Then up here on the wall here, I have just a slight little demonstration on how things you can do with these pipe blocks. We got the junction block here. We got pipes just feeding back into the wall, or who knows, stuff's coming from the outside, coming from that building into here and then being branched off in directions. And then you got the pipes running along here, running down, and once again hooking in. We got the little valve down here, bending around the corner here, and just ending with a cap. Maybe later on we need to... it's like that so that if we need to add more to go to somewhere else, we can. And stuff. But yeah, that's just a little demonstration on how little ways that you can use these new pipe blocks to kind of spruce up your buildings, your ships, all sorts of stuff. It would have been cool if these had been actually able to conveyor, like on the backside of certain ones of these, it would have had a conveyor port that then these would turn into conveyors that you could actually run around the outside of your buildings to transfer stuff to other parts of your building, and then you just would have to adapt it back into a conveyor through the wall with like a conveyor junction or something. That would have been cool, because you stop and think, one's transporting your gases, your items, and power. There's 3 pipes. So hydrogen, oxygen, item transport, and power transport. Yeah. Okay, next up, we're getting into the decorative new blocks from the lab. In your lab, we've got the 3 experiment blocks. We've got this small one. This is also why a lot of people are calling this the bubble update, because we get bubbles. Now, what I wish we could do, and see, these look like they should be controllers, but they're not. It'd be cool if these blocks had a way that we could tell it to display something inside here. Like all of a sudden a fish or some sort of alien organism, or just some plantage, alien plants and stuff would be kind of cool and stuff. And then here's the larger one. This is a large tank, where this one's 4 small tanks. This is 1 big tank. It's a 2x1 stuff, where that's just a 1 single block size. and stuff, which is pretty nice. We saw in one of the trailers where they showed looking at the lab through this tank. Then we have this new like electric energy thing. This thing's going to be neat to utilize in like power plants and stuff, I'm thinking. Or in ships in the engineering room and stuff. This would have been cool if this had been a reskinned block for the jump drive or something. Because that would be really neat. But you can pretend that this is your hyperdrive core in your ship and stuff. In ships and everything. I think it looks really nice. This one I'm really excited to utilize in my ship decorating and base decorating. Then we're moving into the final stretch, everybody. The blocks that actually are usable, non-decorative blocks from the DLC. First up, we have the new large hydrogen tank known as the large small grid hydrogen tank. The lab tank. This I like. Having a reskin for the small grid large hydrogen tanks, we needed this. Something different to be able to use on our ships. It's got the large ports at the ends and the small ports on the sides, just like the normal one does. It's just reskinned to look a little bit cooler compared to the original. Now we have the new small large grid hydrogen tanks and stuff on it and stuff. Here's the side view of them. They are really nice looking. The main changes is just the port placement. Size is the same, capacity is the same. It is just where the conveyor ports are. Where on the original, they are on the ends. On these puppies, you got one on one end and then one at the opposite bottom side, which is really nice. Now, one block I'm really excited about is the new O2 tank, because this is neat. This will be fun to set on top of like roofs and stuff, and on the bottom, both spots are conveyors on this particular one. So it don't matter, as long as you have a conveyor under it, boom, you have a nice oxygen storage to be able to store your O2 on top, or inside your laboratory, having a wall where all your precious gases are stored, or liquids and stuff for your experiments. Yeah. So, just getting into some of the fun stuff. Now, this is something that I really wish that they had just put into the regular game instead of making it part of the DLC. But this is our new access port block, which is nice. That means now you don't have to have small cargo containers spammed all over your base in order to have an access point. All you got to do is you just put this in instead. Now note, this still has the same capacity as a small cargo container. So just it's a cargo terminal instead of container. We will see how Izzy reacts with these, if Izzy will try to use them as a storage area or not. That is something we will have to experiment with eventually. So then you have the half slab kind of version. It has about half the capacity of the full one, a little bit less than half. So, but this will be nice because if anywhere you have a conveyor, you can just pop this puppy on it. And then boom, you now have an access terminal. It's real quick and easy. Boom. Access to all your goodies. Now we have the new reskin of the H2O2 generator. I love this. Just gotta say, I love it. And stuff. Yes, it's going to take up twice the space. Its ports are identical. So no port placement. It's just 100% decorative and 100% bigger on it. But it looks so cool and everything. I don't know why why they designed it for it to sit like this. It really takes away from the beautifulness of that up there. But you have 2 ports on the sides, just like the original, and one at the top and one at the bottom. There is none underneath here and stuff, because most of the time you're going to want to display this puppy like this. I kind of have it upside. No, the bubbles are going up. That's right. Yep. This is the way I would display this puppy. Just like this. You walk into my H2 generation room and you're just going to see these puppies in a nice little line. And stuff. It's going to look so nice. I really, really like it. It's funny how that section looks very similar to the section inside the regular H2 generators. Then we're down to the last item, and by far my favorite. The new cryopods, pretty much. That's what they are. They're a cryopod that you can just pop into, and yep, your whole character will be shown floating inside here. You could lay them down like this now, because what makes these puppies so nice is they are ported on the top, the back, and the bottom. So it will be really easy to pop these into your ships. I am ecstatic about this, because you can even have them laying down like this and then pop in and stuff, and you walk in, you'll just see the player sitting there floating inside their tube. It is so, so nice. Well, everybody, that covers all of the new blocks that have been added in the Fieldwork update. And we even discovered a nice little glitch in there. I am quite happy. We got a ton of new stuff, especially with the DLC. This DLC felt like it was worth it. There's been a few that I'm like, we just didn't get that much from it. I'm like, we're giving you guys extra money. We should be getting a good chunk of goodies to make us want to buy these. And this one's worth it. We get a ton of really cool decorative blocks, as well as a ton of reskinned blocks as well, that will make designing and greebling so awesome. I am very happy with this update. We will see if the trend keeps going forward that our DLCs are good like this. This right now is one of those DLCs I do highly recommend people to get, especially if you are into really decorating or you do a lot of RP stuff on your ships. If you're planning on doing like some Star Trek style ships, this will be great for the science labs and everything, all the new desks and everything. Yeah, this is awesome. Well, everybody, as always, thank you very much for joining me on this video. It's been great. Feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment, turn on the notification bell if you want to know whenever I am going live. And as always, everybody, have a good one.